Today on Questions Answered, we're talking about pedals, different styles of pedals. And the first question is, what are the pros and cons to flat pedals? And the pros are that they come in a variety of sizes and pin types, so you can find one to suit your riding needs and your riding style. Flat pedals are very common. They're also very inexpensive. They're found on most bikes as the stock pedal. And because the biggest advantage is that you can use regular shoes and ride in flat pedals. It's also easy to walk when you're wearing your regular shoes and riding on flat pedals. They don't require specific shoes. And they also allow you to move your feet around, which can be a specific advantage on long distance touring or if your fit isn't exactly perfect. Being able to move your feet around allows you to reposition your foot to suit the needs in that given moment. Or if you have a sore spot or some amount of discomfort with where your foot is at the time. And you can quickly get your foot on the ground. So instances where you hit a rough section of trail and you lose control a little bit, you can dab your foot on the ground and regain balance. So that's definitely an advantage for flat pedals. There are some downsides though. If you get a style of flat pedal that has a lot of grip, that'll have some big pins on it. But those pins can also chew up your shoes if they aren't designed for mountain biking or riding with tall pins. And if you happen to take that pedal into your shin, then that can do a lot of damage to your shin. And that's just one thing about flat pedals. It's easier for your feet to slip off unless you have those really big pinned style pedals. That can happen on rough terrain or in wet conditions. Inconsistent foot placement is something that can happen on flat pedals, just unless you are really trying to maintain, the proper position of your foot on the pedal. And that can lead to issues with fit and pedaling efficiency. And the other downside of flat pedals is that you can pull your foot right off the top of the pedal. And that's unlikely to happen except in instances when you're trying to put the most power down. Are there specific shoes that are better to use with flat pedals? And the answer is yes, absolutely. There are shoes that are designed most of the time for mountain biking to better interface with the pedals. They have stiffer soles, often gummier soles as well, to grip onto the pedals. Less flex means that your foot doesn't bend around the pedal so much, and it gives you a bit more of a platform to stay comfortable on the pedals, especially if you're on rough terrain. And the gummier sole means that those shoes really stick to the pins on the pedal. So that can really help if you're going mountain biking and you like having the ability to dab your foot while you're riding, or if you just want to make sure that you're getting the most grip on the pedals for the best power transfer and the best likelihood to stay on the bike. So that brings us to the next question, which is, what are the pros and cons of clipless pedals? And the name is confusing because there's some history to this in that clipless means that they are not toe clips, but it's really referring to clip-in style pedals, and that is pedals that are designed to take a specific cleat shape that bolts onto the underside of a cycling shoe. The big advantage of this style is better power transfer and more efficiency. And that's specifically relevant for road cycling and mountain biking in instances where you're trying to put the most power down. So out of the saddle, pedaling hard, spinning up a hill, and trying to get the most energy transfer into the bike. And the big difference is that it allows you to not just push down on the pedal, but pull back and up and push forward and use the whole pedal stroke. Another advantage is that clipless pedals keep your foot from slipping off the pedal. So on really rough terrain or really wet and muddy conditions where your foot might slip off of a flat pedal, your foot is locked in. So your foot's not going anywhere. And this also means that your foot is in the correct position at all times. So if you've been fit on your bike and you have proper leg extension and proper cleat placement, you're going to be assured to be getting the best efficiency and the best ergonomics at all times. But there are some downsides. And this efficiency is actually debatable in a lot of instances. And the actual increase in power transfer by some studies is shown to really only be relevant when sprinting out of the saddle. But if you ask a lot of riders, I think they'll tell you that they feel like they're getting more power spinning up hills and in instances aside from just doing a full-on sprint. And I can attest to this as well. There are some other downsides. Specifically with road shoes, where the cleat is very large on the bottom of the shoe, walking can be pretty awkward. And there's a learning curve to clipless pedals. Learning how to clip in and out requires practice, and just about anybody who's tried to learn how to clip in and out has fallen. So it's not easy for anybody to just jump on and learn it. There is another possible downside here, and that is price. Shoes and pedals can be expensive, especially higher end ones. So that's an additional cost on top of the rest of your bike. A common question is, why are clipless pedals called clipless pedals? And if we go back before clipless pedals, the best option for efficiency was toe cages and straps, or clips. And clipless pedals came to replace those. So the easy way for people to understand what they were is they were doing away with the clips, or clipless. A lot of people just refer to them as clip-in pedals now, so the term clipless is a little dated, but it's still the most common term. I think somebody would still use this pedal style if they really want to wear regular sneakers, but want some of the benefits of clipless pedals in that they're able to put more power down. The next question is, are there different types of clipless pedals? And yes, there are. And the differences between them kind of mitigate some of the disadvantages of the style. So road shoes and road pedals are really designed for maximum efficiency. They're super light, there's a larger interface between the pedal and the shoe, and a larger cleat on the bottom of the shoe. The downside is that they really aren't designed for walking in basically at all, so they're not a very practical shoe aside from for riding bikes, but they offer great power transfer and are super, super efficient. Then the other large category of clipless shoe and pedal are mountain bike shoes and pedals. And those ones make a bit of a compromise in terms of efficiency and lightweight by using a smaller pedal and a smaller cleat, so that the cleat can be recessed behind treads on the bottom of the mountain bike shoe. So that allows riders to get off the bike and walk more easily, push the bike uphill when necessary, and it just becomes a little bit more of a practical shoe while still having some of those efficiency advantages of being clipped in. A common question we get is, which pedal style is better for bike packing? And this is one that is totally up to personal preference, I think, except that I don't think anybody would want to go bike packing in road pedals and road shoes, just because when you're bike packing, you tend to walk a lot, push your bike, and you spend a fair amount of time in camp, and having road shoes is just not super practical. Personally, I like to bike pack in mountain bike shoes and pedals because I really appreciate the efficiency gains that I get when I need to be able to pull up on the pedals and put maximum power to get my heavy bike up a steep climb. But there are other camps of philosophies that say that using flat pedals is a big advantage in terms of fit, because being able to move your feet around on a longer ride can be a big advantage if you don't have the perfect fit. Also, you don't have to bring a second set of shoes. While mountain bike shoes can be reasonably comfortable for walking around, they're definitely not as comfortable as Crocs or some kind of camp shoe that you can just relax in. So it may make more sense to just have one kind of shoe that you ride and camp in. So having flat pedals is the best way to do that. If you have any more questions about pedals or anything else bike related, post it in the comments and we'll get to it in a future video. Thanks for watching.